After China, Vietnam is the fastest growing economy in Asia. Its population is booming. Nowhere more so than its largest metropolis, Ho Chi Minh City, home to 7.99 million residents and counting. Finding a little inner peace amid the torment of this crowded city is a challenge. But it's one which Trong Nghia makes time for and encourages his team to do the same. He's been chosen by international architect David Adjaye as showing great promise. He's one to watch. He has big ambitions to inject more green spaces into this dense urban landscape.
In Ho Chi Minh City, we just have 1 square meter greenery per person. It's lowest in Asia. For example, Hong Kong, they have more than 50 square meter per person.
When you hear that stat, that is so depressing. That is so depressing. And it's actually hard to believe that, you know, in the 70s, there was a time when people thought that cutting down trees in cities was a way to get a modern city.
Hidden from the street, this is Trong's house for trees. 5 individual rooms which double as huge plant pots for the trees on top. By separating the bedrooms, bathroom, living space and a meditation room, the building compels its occupants to pass through the canopy of trees outside. Trong is convinced that this simple engagement with nature can help reduce the mental stress associated with rapid urbanization.
Sometimes we just make a question, that is, how many green area, how many big trees can we give back to our earth when we design the building? So the question and the answer is really simple.
Simple but effective. Trong tries to harmonize architecture with nature, making the most of local materials to create his art. Bamboo, he says, is the steel of the 21st century.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Not one nail has been used to build these public pavilions.
In tropical country, we have a lot of bamboo. Then it low cost, and if you use the bamboo, you have really elegant space that you cannot see by timber or steel or concrete. Bamboo is the next 21st century material in the world.
I was very impressed by, again, the notion to use local materials in a modest way, but at the same time to create really bold architectural statements. But again, with the notion of how to create something environmentally responsible.
His sense of responsibility embraces not only the environment, but also the social needs of poorer households. His team has devoted endless hours to the creation of an affordable, compact dwelling, light enough to be shipped anywhere, but firm enough to withstand tropical storms.
Here is the bedroom. We can put 1, 2, and I think 3, 4 on this.
He calls it the S house, and it can be assembled in a single day.
This is the most difficult project, is to do the small house like this, because we have 7 billion people, and then almost like 3 or 4 billion is on the bottom need this house. We try to share this to all over the world, like in Philippines, like in Vietnam, in India, in Africa.
It's global vision such as this which has raised awareness of Trong's work. An impressive 7 of his buildings have been shortlisted at the 2014 World Architecture Festival in Singapore.
Really meaningful to be here and learn the art from the other architects.
Ultimately, he fails to take the top prize. But remarkably, the winner is another Vietnamese architect. Trong Nghia is rewarded for the chapel, a small, colourful community building in Ho Chi Minh City. Later, Vo Trong learned he'd made the final 3, and a lasting impression on the judges.
This is a young practice that we had never heard of until they came to the World Architecture Festival, I think about 3 years ago. We hadn't had many, if any, architects from Vietnam at that time, but their attention to detail is very noticeable, use of natural materials, and a very clear idea about how design can benefit both individuals and local communities.
That's an observation which could be applied to both our ones to watch, Vo Trong Nghia and Kunle Adeyemi.
I think it's a time for us to actually shape the architectures of developing regions, and it's a period of opportunity, and we have a responsibility to do that appropriately. I'm very keen on being part of that process.
Architects now, they are focusing on the rich people, that is at the big city, the airport, the museum, but almost of our population is really low income person. They cannot use that architecture.
Both these architects are really inspiring because they show that this is what needs to be done in architecture. The architecture is not just for the rich people, you know, living in Paris or Tokyo or London, but it is for everybody globally. And that we need to concentrate exactly on that segment of population, which is the majority of people in the world.
Most young architects are obsessed with trying to get a career, trying to build a house for their mother and, you know, start their business. And that's all fine. But every so often there's a voice which speaks through a different lens. And I think those are very powerful flashpoints.